Aloha, James Kanani Kaulukukui Jr. I got a little bit. So you see here is things that I love to do. This is my first passion is art, and it goes way back. My second passion is heiaus. My third after heiaus is carving keys. The thing was, carving keys was never in my radar. I mean, it was like I never thought I would be doing this. Until one day, about 30 years ago, I'm carving a Mele wrap for a mirror on the wood. And I had a quiet moment in my head, and all I heard was, you need to carve tikis. I didn't know the word key. I said, whoa, wait. Tikis, heiaus, human sacrifice, this, the gods. I said, I have no clue. I didn't know too much about my own history as being Hawaiian. So I said, wait, for me, you guys got me to do something that I have known nothing about? It's not right. I said, I don't know. My brain was going crazy. And then a quiet moment, and a voice again said, you need to carve tikis. So I said, then I hear my grandma's voice from Kikau, my mom's side. She's telling, you know, boy, when they call, it's up to you to say yes or no. So I said, okay, when I heard that, I said, you know what? Okay, on one condition, I gotta know what I'm doing. Because I cannot just go make any kind, and that no go. So that was 30 years ago, and along the way, I learned all of Hawaii Loana started falling into place. Oh, this is this is that. Because prior to that, I was in the Air Force. I got into parapsychology. I wanted to know how the mind works. I mean, it goes back to mana. What is mana? What is energy? So then I looked, okay, Einstein, M equals MC squared. I like using M for mana instead of E. He's on his energy, yeah? So I said, okay, that. And then I got into Nikola Tesla. To understand the universe, you understand three things. Mana, which is energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything functions at a certain frequency and vibration, and that's mana. So when you get into Killian photography, where you take pictures of the aura, and everything has this aura of energy. The trees, plants, you name it, okay? So now all this comes into play. Now I'm starting to understand mana and energy and the plants, and you're working with this. And so make a long story short, I put all that together, then a light bulb starts coming on. And you know, when you're working on something, they say, you know, when you're angry, you know, work on something because you don't want that anger energy going into your work. You know, so, but I said, on the other hand, when I'm carving my keys or whatever, most of my keys, I tell them, I talk to them because they have energy. They show me where they want to go. I have an idea, and it's a compromise. But then I says, you know what, this is bothering me today. I need your help. It's a positive energy. Give me some back. So I pick up my tool and I start carving slowly. In 20 minutes, everything's gone. So it's a reciprocation. It's not just one way. If you put all that in, ask for it back. Because that's yours, right? And he's sharing. They says, okay, we're going to work together. So all my keys are all about healing. So a lot of people say, oh, this, that. And I says, no, that's your perspective. That's where you come from. If you bring that here, it don't work here. This is my keys. This is what I see. And they're healers. I don't see, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. They know their job, their energy. That's why when I'm done, I take them more from it. And Robin says, this is your job. I task them. You're going to protect, heal, educate. Take whatever negative energy come around. You're going to turn me positive. And nobody can change it, because you get some guy, other guys like, well, I'd like you to go do this for me. Don't work, because they know their job. So when you look at that, they're all healers. I had all my Hawaii Loanas, guys tell me, hey, this happened, hey, bro, this happened. And I think they did their job. So when you look at something, it's the energy that you bring to that spot, is what's going to determine. But that's why I made sure you don't listen to nobody else. You pull key, you do your job. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. So even in my work, in my art, That's, you're going to see there's a lot of the hair. It's kanaloa. The body form of kanaloa is the hair. So it's the deep, the dark, it's a subconscious, and we have a conscious in our mind, a subconscious. That's where all your creative processes come and evolve. All your dreams and everything comes to light. And so from there, then it comes up into the world. So you have your three realms: ocean, land, sky. So a lot of guys, then they ask you, oh, what's that all about? So I ask them, so what do you think it's all about? Then they come up with their this, that. And a lot of them, it says, Dan, you got it. So the bottom line, that's the kumalipo. And they say, what is all those white dots and everything? You look in the ocean, what's the building blocks of the ocean? Is your polyps. The polyps form the corals. The coral forms the food for all the small fish. The small fish feed the bigger fish, and everything expands and grows up into the realm of the land. And then you kalo, haloa, it's our brother. Yeah, and then you have the water, it's all kane. And you cannot forget mahina. Mahina controls everything. We are 80% water. So who do you think is affecting you? It's mahina, female. You cannot forget the females. And you get the sun, you know, setting, monarchy. So everything's in there of who we are. So basically, you're looking at the kumulipo. And if you can understand the kumulipo and the genealogy, it doesn't matter what you do. You just gotta let it flow. And a lot of times when I work with kids, you gotta learn how to listen. We hear stuff, but how are you listening? Because when they come, it's a still, small voice, not big booming, but when you too much, this, that, hey, how's that, going. You're not listening. You're hearing, but you're not listening. So you gotta quiet, go inside, and listen for the voice, and it'll tell you what you need to know. So yeah, so basically, this is, I wanted to do a mahiole, so this is mine. I use rattan. I'm saving the forest. So instead of using
What would you originally use?
Ie. So the ie, that's the aerial roots from the ie plant. And usually they call it, I was a geography major, so they call it an epiphyte. Epiphyte are plants that grow on other plants to grow. And when they grow high, so the aerial roots are descending looking for water. So that's why you get the high, and the roots are good for picking, and they weave. This one, it's just my fly swatter.
What is it made out of?
This is, I found this in a pasture. So I think this is bone pig. So this is horsehair. I order them off of Amazon. Comes from China, but it works. This is a pahua, marlin bill. The handle is kawila. So it's real dense. And usually I carve it, I don't know if you pick it up, you see there's the kukui and there's the lehua. My wife, lehua, is my biggest supporter and my biggest critic. She's not ashamed to let me know, hey, last night you gotta do them this way, this way, this way. I said, nah, we argue all over. But she's right. I learned a lot from her on that. And this is another one, another pahua, bone handle. I put ku in there, so I like putting faces in them. Again, this is a small one.
And the holder is?
I forgot the name of this, but that's the holder that's on the yako of the canoe. And that's where they usually have two or one, and that's where they tie the spears or poles or whatever. So I had to make one. So this is where you would lash. This is where you would do the lashing to the yako, and then your spears and your poles would sit in here. And so this is another one. This is kawila. It's just a pahua, a dagger, slashing that in. So now this one, this is mano. Again, the lehua and the kukui. So I had to do, ask my grandma what is on my mom's side. So what is our amakua? It's a white tip shark. So I don't have the fin on him, but this is the mano. So this is what we call a neva. It's a club. but this is ceremonial. Not for, because it's too heavy. If you miss,
As a weapon.
yeah, it can be used as a weapon, but if you miss that weight's down here, then he's on you. So they're like, this is just ceremonial. When if you go in, then use something smaller and lighter. So anyway, and then there's the holua, and it's a shorter one. And like I said, but aren't they long? Normally they're like 14, 18 footers. But I wanted something short, so I said, okay. One day we went down to Bishop Museum. And we knew somebody there says, I want to go in the back where they store all the displays that they don't show. So I want to look at holua. So I went in the back and I saw one, it was a 6-footer and it was wider. I said, so they did have shorter ones. So it's kind of, vindicates me. I says, okay, I know what I'm doing. So it's like, okay, ancestors, thank you for filling me in and for verifying that. So that's ideal. So when we work with kids, me and Kanani Kaulukukui, he has a ramp, and so he brings his holua. He's got 14, 16 footers. So I bring my short guy. And we're working with some kids one time. High school is down in Honolulu, but there's a holua slide. So we went down and we set it up, and the kids were riding. They had the long ones because it's narrow, so you gotta make sure you balance it or you fall. This one was more stable. So they was having fun going on mine, and they started nicknaming him Lambo. Lambo, and he says, yeah, where's Lambo? I said, what do you mean by Lambo? He said, oh, that's the Lamborghini. So I cracked up, I laughed. I said, yeah, because that thing is stable. I think we fly, we get full runs on him. So his name is Lambo. Yes. Oh, this one. This is Kukailimoku. Lehu and I and a lot of others, they were bringing Kekuokalani's cape back from the museum. They brought it back to Kona, Hale Aloha and all the gang. And they also said Kukailimoku was coming home too. So they asked Luna, so she was down there chanting when they started bringing the cape to the warehouse. But before that, and after that, and we saw the Kukailimoku, then 2 weeks, maybe a month and a half later, she had Puhonu Ho'ohono now, City of Refuge. This is the 3rd year she goes and does a presentation on hula, and she does a slideshow. So what she said is, I want a picture of Kukailimoku and Kekuokalani's cape. So she's gonna talk about them and their sacrifice being the heroes and all this. So she said, I told her, so why you want a picture? I said, well, that's all I have is a picture. I said, what if you got the real thing? She says, what, you gonna make me one? I said, yeah, I'm gonna make you one. So it took me about a month. I started, and
what is in there, Uncle? Like, I see teeth or?
Yeah, those are teeth. Normally they'd be dog teeth, but since we don't have dog teeth, I order it off the Amazon, and it's coyote teeth. So that's really good. That.
And you weave everything?
Yeah, I wove it from the top. I started the pico from the top, and I worked my way down, and then I do the lips and the nose, and I say, this is my form. There's other guys who do beautiful work, but they do how they do. And I say, I do it, how I do it. And then the shell inlay eyes and the kukui, and I peg the eyes. So yeah, so she said, oh, I'll need a stand. So I had to do the stand for her. So yeah, so all this evolves because of her and her hula. Yeah, this is just an image that comes, but like again, they're all healers. And sometimes the images goes down, but it also goes up. This one comes down. It's that reciprocation of energy. What comes in goes out. So it doesn't stay. It's always moving. So that's what it is. And the body form is that IHA position. You're always ready for things. So again, same one. But see, if there's 3 shells in there, if there's 3 dots, for me, that's the Orion constellation. That's Orion's belt. So what is, I did research on it, and the Sanskrit name is Alnilan, Alnitak, and Mintaka. The smallest one up on the top, Mintaka. For some reason, I'm drawn to that star. I don't know why, but I am. So that's in Sanskrit. Those are female names. So the name of female. Hawaiians, we have our own name. There's Hawaiian names for it. So, but yeah, so if you see 3 dots over there, even my paintings, you're gonna see the 3 dots. It's Orion. And also the Draconis. Now this one, I did this one because other guys asked, how you do it? So I left this blank and I kind of drew in it. So this is my process. I lay out the this, then I make the cuts wherever the major cuts go, and then I start bringing them out. From there, then I bring them out. See, eventually, then it becomes the full. So you can see it, the progression of how it is. So it's like a teaching type tool. Yeah, yeah. That painting over there on the bottom. I went down to Puoko dump one day, dumping rubbish. I see this laying on the side. It was a world map, in good condition. I said, man, they're throwing this away. Okay, what are you going to do? So I took it up. I can do something with this. So I think when they were getting ready for Merry Monarch, last year. So I said, okay. So then these guys came in. So the title of this is Makau Kau. Are you ready? So that's why I put all this in. Mauna Kea, I get Mauna Kea, Mahina, the waterfalls. Everything is about water. And the ulua, I like putting in the ulua. And the red fish. So all that is symbols in the pahu. So yeah, and the eye, you always see this in there, and you see, that's the eye of Kuamo'o. Kuamo'o, Kua, the back, mo'o of the lizard, of the crocodile. When we talk mo'o, we're talking now crocodile, we're talking Komodo dragons, we're talking Chinese dragons, not the green guys running up and on the wall, not those guys. So that is the Kuamo'o line. Because we have a heiau that we take care of up in Kohala, and that belongs, the caretakers they go to Kuamo'o, the Kuamo'o line. But initially, we found out that the high priest that came up before, I think this was before Pa'ao, his name was Kuamo'omo'okini. One name. Came to Kohala, he was a high priest. He came up, they say, on the back of a whale, and the whale's name was Hamumu. You have like the whale rider story and everything. We have our own whale rider story. His name was Kuamo'omo'okini. So, Hakaka in the family, they will separate. One kept Mo'okini, one kept Kuamo'o. This is the story. So they know. That's why Kuamo'o is separate. And they all basically from Kohala. And their heiau was up Maka from where Mo'okini is now. The one Pa'ao built on top of another heiau. That's what we found out. We've learned. So yeah, so the eye of Kuamo'o is like, yeah, they were peacekeepers. So I said, oh, cool. So that's why I put them in. And again, the kukui and lehua, if you see in there. This one I like playing with, yeah. Kanaloa, the deep, the dark, going up. And that's where the creativity process. So I came up here and I had this one tend to come up, holding a pencil, and he's creating this. So he's creating all of this. And then the white tip, the mano. And this is maybe mahina. I always put them in. And the pakukui, because the connection in the ocean and on land, there's a connection. So the pakukui and the kukui tree on land, so they are connected. Now this one, I got this quadrangle map, and I wanted to do something that relates to Kohala. Here's Pololu Valley, all the way down to Waipio. So I'm looking at it, so Lehua being like she's a kumuhula. And then she tells me, you see all these valley names? They're in the dressing chant. When they're dressing, they put their coupes on. The chant that they use has all these valley names on it. Says why? You see the folds in the skirt on the pa'u, that reflects all the valleys and the ridges. So that's why I put them together. So it's a mirror of this, and they're mirroring each other, and they're chanting, and the names of the chant, the names of the valleys are in the chant. So that's why I have them in here reflecting that. And then we come down to Waipio, And we took care of some low ease in there with our family friends, Frondas. We used to go down there all the time. We took it, help take care of the place. And there's Ku in there, Kuka Ilimoku. And then the Ulu, always because our last name called Ulukukui, the growing, expanding light, which is Mahina. So the Ulu always represents you always be learning, you're expanding your knowledge, your light. And I like throwing the Oopu. He's over there checking everything out, smiling. Now this one, I retired from DLNR, Dokir, the Enforcement Division. When Tutu was coming down and inundating Kalapana, we had to go down and work 12-hour shifts. So we were way out above Kaimu. So anyway, there'd be about 2 or 3 of us. I thought, yeah, I'm going walking in. So I walk in and I see all these things that was going on. This is the Kaimu before, and there's a lava coming in. It started from this side and it worked its way over. But there was a drive-in. So the drive-in, that's where we used to order lunch. After everything was closed up, but the second time I went in, the lava had covered it up. And that was the sign of the drive-in. So I'm standing next to the sign, holding the sign, because the drive-in is underneath. I walk further in, and on this lava, now this is a Pahoehoe flow now, wide expanse. Right in the middle of everything, there's a dish rack. A dish rack, all of the rubber is all melted, and it's only wire, and there's this cast iron pot sitting in there. And I looked at it, this is pretty cool. In the middle of this huge lava flow, it picked it up and brought it to the surface. This was locked in, not the pot. I have the pot at home now. I still have the pot at home. And the fruit of the hala fruit, I walked out there where it fell into the hut and it burned and it left the imprint of the fruit in the lava. So I said, wow, I see all this pretty cool stuff. And so yeah, and which one is this? Oh, this is the Queen's Bath. It got covered. Before I went into the service in high school, I swam in back there, took 2 quarters, and I had gone down about 2 feet, and I stuck it in a shelf. I told myself one day I'm gonna come back and look for my 2 quarters. I couldn't, because she came and covered it. So I have 2 quarters buried over there. And this is the ramp, Po'iki, the ramp before. And this, I forgot which heiau was this, but all this is related. And usually that's where I point. Okay. Yeah, so it all has tie-in, because grandma, we used to go down and had a cousin's house there. We used to always go down and visit, one of my grandma's. And that's why we would run around and just us playing on Kaimu.
Is that the house that never get covered?
No, all that got covered. All that got covered.
Because there's that one house in Pohoiki that never
Yeah,
gets
never.
covered.
Yeah. So somebody was watching over there.
She went around.
This one, yeah. So this one is like, I just let myself go. Again, Halo, the moon, sun. Mauna Kea had, one time had all three mountains had snow. This was back in the 20s, so that reflected that. And then this one, it's about the pinao, the dragonfly. It's all about transitions again. So you're going to see a recurring theme: ocean, land, sky, and Mahina is always in there. As who we are, we're always transitioning. Yeah, from one's next stage, what's the next stage, and I see where are you headed. And again, I just playing, more play. These 2 guys, I had to throw these guys in. Because one time we were on working docker. We were staking out marijuana patches with the national park guys. So in the national park, so I was in my little hole watching these plants, and had a couple of other guys in different holes watching plants. So I see these 2 nenes flying around. Like, hey, oh, pretty cool. So they land not too far from me, up on a puka now. They're up on the top. And they start walking down. I said, where are these guys going? So I'm in my little puka, and it's just small little hole, maybe about 6 feet. So I'm sitting there. They come walking into my puka. I'm sitting there eating my sunflower seeds, and I don't want to move because I don't want to scare them. They come in and they sat there looking at me. I'm looking at them. They was in there for about half an hour. So we ended up talking story. So after a while, they walked out, they flew up, and they flew away. So I had to throw them in here. So yeah. And then the pinal, but yeah, everything tells a story. Something that occurred, and I put them in.
Put this down here.
Again, the newest island coming up. You know, the scientists call it Loihi, but the Hawaiian give them that Kama'ehu. Okay. Kama'ehu, we call him that. So that's him waiting to come forth. So anytime you see one that's way down under the ocean, that's Kama'ehu. I mean, that's the new Kama'ehu coming up. Now this one, I just went off the deep end. Something like playing off the deep end of the pool. And then the shark and all this. Because I like, what's his name? Oh, gonna come to me later on. But I just wanted to do a painting, and from the painting, everything expands from that. So the waterfall comes in down, the leaves are sticking out of the frame, so everything comes starting to come out. Again, the kukui, the lehua. And so I have this piece of llama, and it says, Tapu'uri tangaro with Unupua'a. And my wife used to dance with them, that's why I hang out with them. So he says, oh, I'm looking for a llama. I tell him, I got the perfect piece for you. So I brought him, and it's shaped like this, and it stands up. I said, here. He looks at it, oh, wow, it's pretty cool. So he does that rope with the netting. So he weighed one, and he put it on there, and he has that the table where he displays, puts it on there, and they adorn it for like their ko'ahu. So I took that idea, and I put that in. And from there, then the water. I just wanted to play with this three-dimensional stuff. And then from there, it comes down, and that's all your hula implements. Then you come down to Hiaka, the saga of Hiaka and her journey that she had to go. So yeah, so this is kind of what it's all about. I'm off the deep end. And like I said, okay, where am I? A lot of guys ask me, so what you on? I tell them, I'm on life. I told him, imagine if I was on something, what I'm going to do.
You get high on these things, yeah? Also,
yeah. So the thing, you don't need it. All you got to do is let yourself go. It's in there. So yeah.
Right. Go over there, we go explain your veranda.
The veranda.